family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. This is your host, Brother Rich, and I'm joined once again by the legend, Professor Griff. Welcome back, brother.
Greetings, brother. How you feel today?
Doing great, brother. I'm glad to be back on the radio with you today, Professor Griff. I just want to touch on some recent things happening in the news, get Professor Griff perspective on these things. Now, this story, let's just to start out with things. Just the story I keep hearing about Steve Harvey and the Miss Universe pageant. So, I went to look into the pageant, and I remember early in the year, Professor Griff, that I seen a article about how Miss Japan was the first ever biracial Miss Japan, and that was in the headlines for a while. Some people was upset that Miss Universe Japan had, black features with her or whatever. Then when I was looking to this story with Steve Harvey, I noticed that the first ever contestant, Miss Jamaica, happened to have locks in her hair. So I said, wow, this is cool. These little girls, they about beauty pageants and Sweet 16s and all of this stuff, and they look at this stuff, and I'm like, okay, all right, first ever contestant with locks in the hair, and, I happen to have a cousin, one of my cousins was here, and one of my cousins happened to ask, why does that, why does it matter that she has locks in the hair? Why does that make you happy? So I went on to explain to her about, the complex, the serious issues that black people have in this country as far as, complexion and all that other stuff. But I want to get just to start out with, I want to get the Professor Griff perspective on this. So I want to ask you, Professor Griff, the same question my cousin asked me when she seen that. I was like, wow, that's cool. You see that? I told her, you see that? The first contestant with locks. I want to ask you, Professor Griff, why is it important? Why is it dangerous? Let me say it like this, Griff. Why is it so dangerous to teach our young people that color doesn't matter in a color-based, I guess in a race-based society? Because you have this, a lot of people feel as though the more advanced you get, the more spiritual you get, color doesn't matter, race doesn't matter. But why is that such a dangerous concept in this day and age, Professor Griff?
I truly know and understand, Brother Rich, that to be politically correct in the society in which we live has become this almost you joining that elite group in the VIP section at the club. You don't have to stand in line in the cold with your short mini skirt on or your boobs out or whatever. You can go right to the car, cut the line, go right into the VIP section. And now you belong to this elitist kind of group where you get treated different because for some strange reason, someone has said to you that they're VIP and you're a VIP status, meaning that you have values, you have interest that's well beyond the average person's interest, and people have interest in you. And then you have principles, which is VIP, values, interests, and principles, that are way beyond the average person. So we have to treat you different. And because you belong to this exclusive club, now you've transcended these particular things. But now, because now you belong as to what I refer to now as what I did back then when I was writing the book, Psychological Code on Hip Hop. Sometimes you may belong to the $20 million club, $50 million, $100 million club. But now you belong to this very elitist kind of group that almost think like the talented 10, simply because you're a certain complexion, or you have a certain degree, or certain letters and numbers behind your name, or you know that the correct handshake and the password and the code word, and you belong to the right fraternity, sorority, or club, or group, that you get treated different. So in those particular circles, and I'm sorry I'm taking a long way around, Brother Rich, in those particular circles, they may say, okay, well, we're way beyond this whole idea of judging people based on color. Well, hell, you should be, because that may have been one of the criteria to even get into the goddamn club, if you really look at it. But we need to understand things from a very basic and practical perspective, Brother Rich. The first thing people see that are not black is they see our blackness. And that's the first thing we consciously or subconsciously determine that we have to deal with when we're dealing with other people. And oftentimes, we have to defend that particular thing unbeknownst to the people around us, that we're always on guard to defend our blackness. So we come up with silly phrases like, oh, I'm mixed. Oh, I'm part this and I'm part that. Oh, my daddy was so-and-so and so-and-so from that piece of that so-called island over there. Oh, my mom was white and she did this, that, and the other. And we always have to justify and be on guard to defend our blackness. But guess what, brother? On the other side of the fence, them people don't care where your goddamn daddy's from, or what part white, or what other part your mama is. They consider you black, and they will deal with you as such. So this whole idea, Brother Rich, of color doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter to whom? If color don't matter, is the bank open tomorrow, Brother Rich?
I'm not even sure. What tomorrow's Christmas
I'm
Eve?
gonna go down there at 8:45 with my black ass and get this business like some of my white cohorts can do. You understand? If color didn't matter, they see you coming a mile away, and they have these preconceived ideas and notions and thoughts and set of beliefs and set of behaviors that they attach to you, Brother Rich, because you're black. Now check this out. You can come in and be black, light-skinned, or dark-skinned, but if you're from a different country, you get treated differently. Have you experienced that?
Yeah.
Or have you seen that, Brother Rich?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
This is a hell of a thing. How many goddamn categories of black do they have? And this is a reality that we have to, and now our children's children have to deal with it, because it seems like we're dropping the ball on putting these particular things in place that'll automatically check those particular things. Now, okay, Brother Rich, you might see a couple of lawsuits. You might see some racial discrimination cases, but these are just little flurries, Brother Rich. This is not the norm. This is not the standard. The standard is we went through periods of time, Brother Rich, where we had the brown paper bag test. We had the white doll versus the black doll test. We had the talented test. We had the bell curve. We had Reconstruction. We had Jim Crow. We had all these things that Dr. Joy Leary talked about in post-traumatic slavery syndrome. We had all these things that Michelle Alexander talked about in the new Jim Crow. So in understanding these sisters and how they lay these things out, it would lead us to believe in 2015 going into 2016 next week that things have all of a sudden now, Brother Rich, have gotten better because Barack Obama has laid the foundation and he's on his way out of office and everything is cool now and we don't need to worry about the black and white issue anymore. Everything is fine. But guess what? Lo and behold, white people have proven all of that wrong. Simply because throughout this country we're being shot down and mowed down. And you rarely hear about a case where you find a black police officer shooting down little white kids. And this is a reality. And for those people within the sound of my voice to say, well, I disagree with you, brother, Professor Griff, because race doesn't matter. I don't care who lives next door to me. As long as they take care of their lawn and keep their house and they can afford to live in my neighborhood, then I don't care who my neighbor is. Well, we have some field research, Brother Rich, to prove that absolutely incorrect. I tell you. So Rich, one last point.
So they playing dumb. They playing dumb, Professor Griff?
I think they're playing dumb simply because a lot of these bougie niggas and Negroes and Negresses play the same race card that white people play. And it's not a card at all. They really don't want to say they don't want to live next to you, Brother Rich. So they'll hide behind their white neighbors, and they'll play the class card.
Okay.
And this has become a very critical dynamic. So then when the entertainer with his crew move in the neighborhood, because now he can afford it, now they not only play the race card, they start setting up homeowners associations. This is a simple way of saying we're forming this group to construct rules and regulations to keep niggas out. A minute ago, especially in Atlanta and throughout the country that I traveled in the South, they have these gated communities. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked last week. Are these designed, as Goody Mob say, are these gated communities designed to keep people in or to keep people out? That's my take on that question. So, yeah, color matters. When you go to pick up a rose to tell your girlfriend or your wife you love her, hell, you don't go get a polka dot rose, do you? You mainly look for a red one because we don't understand what the red one means, right or wrong?
Right, right.
So we're very conscious. And what's wrong with not judging people but seeing color? I'm not trying to hide my blackness. No one else hides their color. So why not be black? And why not be beautiful? And why not be proud? I see people with going all out of their way to change features and to play down their blackness and to play down the kinkiness of their hair and the thickness of their lips and the broadness of their nose and everything that comes along with it, not to play down the breasts and the hips and the butt and everything that comes with being black. Of course, Brother Rich, there's no one prototype for what an African looks like. We look like some of everybody because everybody comes from us. And that's very real, and we need to digest that fact. So when you go among these people, you're going to see us because they came from us. But they want to steal our lips, our nose, our complexion, our hair, our walk, our talk, our swag. They're proud to steal it from us and flaunt it and wear it and put it in the movies and on magazines and become rich behind it. They steal everything black, and they'll accept everything black but black people.
Professor Griff, when
let me just say this to white people. White people, if you're listening to this, if I see one more goddamn fake ass hip hop video, y'all trying to dance like us, I'm gonna flip my lips. White people, stop, okay? Just stop. Thank you. Go ahead, Brother Rich.
When Steve Harvey crowned the wrong Miss Universe, he went to crown Miss Columbia, and that was the run up. That wasn't the actual winner. He got a huge backlash from Twitter. A lot of from the Colombian faction. A lot of niggers. He was called an array of niggers on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you get when you hear Hispanics call blacks nigger? Is it the same effect as when you hear whites call black niggas? Do you look at it the same, or do you look at it as that's just it's a convenient way? That's just what they're trying to hurt my feelings, and that's the best word that they know to use. Is it the same, or do you look at it as different?
I read some of those comments. I was on Twitter, and I read some of the stuff. And to answer your question very directly, no, it doesn't have the same effect. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to play it down. It is what it is, and it strikes a nerve in me regardless who say it. Now, it strikes a nerve when black people say it. So, but it strikes a different nerve when white people say it because of the historical use and what came behind that word. I know once I'm called a nigger by white people, I know a numerous number of things. Normally and usually and traditionally happens after they call us that. We're either getting burned, lynched, castrated, or some other stuff that's going to go on, sold down the river. Now, when white-looking and white Hispanic or Spanish people use a particular term, I think what they're doing is they're going for the shock treatment and the effect that it would have on us as if white people from America and Europe and other places call us nigger. but it doesn't have the same thing. Now, I know a lot of people listening to me are going to disagree, Brother Rich. I'm only talking about Professor Griff. I'm going to underline this and say it again slow, and I'm going to say it in bold capital letters. And if you disagree with me, then you go on your little computer and you find a font that you want to put this in, because I'm putting it in a bold font. As a matter of fact, when you look on my computer right now and find a font for your dumb ass, cut out Arial Black, bold capital letters. This is only for Professor Griff, okay? Those that are listening to this. It affects me different. I saw and read those particular comments, and I said to myself, wow. All of a sudden, a minute ago, Steve Harvey was your go-to guy for you all to get a chuckle and a laugh when he talks about black people, as it was with Bill Cosby, as it was with Charles Barkley and a few other people. They were the go-to people when he was talking about black people, and y'all wanted to laugh at us. Now he made an honest mistake with his non-reading fourth grade ass, and he made an honest mistake. Big dumbass. He made an honest mistake, and he had to undo it. But I'm just saying, millions of people, if not billions of people, were sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for this particular announcement. And if your stupid ass can't read a cue card and a teleprompter, and you rehearsed it, and they probably already told you who the winner was before you even got there, you understand what I'm saying? You ought to be a damn shame of yourself, man. Don't this Negro got a book out? And isn't he on 9 different shows that they don't prop him up for? I'm waiting for the blood sacrifice. After he dumped his beautiful first wife and got him a younger chick, I'm waiting for the blood sacrifice. This Negro is playing into their hands like nothing before ever seen in the history of niggerdom, as Cat Williams would say. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
In the history of fucked upness, this dude was fucked up on a major level. But because of the mistake, and there's a difference between a mistake and an error. When you traditionally, intentionally depart from the truth, Brother Rich, that's that error. And you know what you're doing. It was an honest mistake that he made, and he had to undo it. He didn't deserve the name that he was called. As a matter of fact, some people might say, well, you called him stupid. He didn't deserve that. I was just saying, read the goddamn cue card. You see how big that goddamn cue card was, Brother Rich?
Yeah.
Did you see the teleprompters? I'm just saying, Steve Harvey. They chose you for a reason, and we need to keep these particular in mind. Steve Harvey didn't choose them, Brother Rich. Now, isn't it ironic? And I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want to create no ripple. I'm just throwing this out there. They get rid of Donald Trump, right? Because of the mistakes he made in reference to Mexicans, right? About how they rapists and then murderers and thieves and all this kind of other stuff. So now they get rid of him, and then now he's off the scene, but behind the scenes, because you know he still has his hand in that. It goes off without a hitch. We get right to the end. 2 beautiful women that a lot of us may have mistaken for being Mexican or Spanish or Hispanic or however you want to call it. Totally white people off the scene, white women off the scene. 2 beautiful women were up there, the runner-up and the actual winner, and a black man has to make the announcement. So Donald Trump says, why don't you let both of them win? Give it to both of them. Let them share the crown. Why does one person have to win? You know what I did, Brother Rich? I pressed the pause button. It was just too much for me to handle. I pressed the pause button, and I went back and I did the research on the history of the Miss Universe pageant. Let me ask you a question in the audience that's listening. When was the first black woman, and who was the first black woman they ever let grace the stage in the Miss Universe? You ain't got to answer that right now, Brother Rich. But we need to understand these people's history, and that we were never, ever invited to the damn party. So for Steve Harvey to grace the stage as a black announcer, all right, he may have looked at it, okay, wow, millions, if not billions of people are going to watch this, I need to bring my A game to the table. True, he needs to bring his A game to the table. But guess what, brother? This is your first question. We don't ever need to forget. They see our blackness, brother. And those comments speak to this. And some of the comments were so vile and so venomous, man. I'm sure you read some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Have these people forgotten their history? Did they not see Eugene Adams, Africans in Asia? Did they not know that the black man and woman are the original people all across the globe, in every country, in every society? At the root of all of these people are black people? Maybe they forgot the history, Brother Rich.
As you said, we had a black host, Miss Jamaica, black sister with locks in her hair. Last two contestants were not white women. Early in the year, you had the black Miss Japan. It's a lot of, keeping with the theme of the show and the changing perception of beauty and everything. Just me thinking about everyday interaction in society, just being outside and thinking about our sisters with their natural hair. And I noticed this a while ago. I don't know if I might have asked you this a while ago. I'm not sure. But I've noticed just from where I'm at, a lot of the natural sisters, when I see an interracial thing going on, it's usually a sister that's natural or a brother that has locks in his hair. I see that a lot. And when a person thinks of a person that's going natural, they're like, oh, man, okay, that's that, that blackness coming out. And they wouldn't associate that with automatically getting with a person of the opposite race. But for some reason, I see a lot of natural sisters with white men or brothers with locks in their hair with white women. So could you explain that dynamic where I'm going natural, I don't want to look European, but at that same time, I'm going to go date a European?
That is utterly confusing. It's like the whole idea, I expect some backlash on this interview, Brother Rich. So just, if you read those comments under this, just don't pay attention, okay?
Right.
The whole idea of you going natural, when I hear that particular term, and I've seen, certain women go through the process of becoming more natural, let's ask one another a series of questions. Is going natural just about you wearing natural hair the way it grows out of your head? So let's ponder that. Or is going natural a whole lifestyle? I viewed it as a lifestyle change and not a hairstyle change. I viewed it as a lifestyle change and not I'm going to wear dashikis and abubas and hijabs and kufis and whatever, and mudcloth. I viewed it as a lifestyle change, meaning I'm going to change my way of thinking, my way of approaching certain situations. I'm going to operate from an African-centered or a God-centered perspective. I thought it was a lifestyle change where I changed 360 degrees of who and what I am to get a desired result. And that desired result would be to be the very thing that the Creator created me to be, and which is my natural self. I thought it was a lifestyle change to the point where I'm going to rid myself of everything artificial. I thought it was a lifestyle change to the point where I'm going to stop using chemicals, not only on my hair, but the underarm deodorant, which has aluminum in it, the toothpaste, which has fluoride in it. And I've heard from Dr. Scott Witter, Khalil African, Dr. Sabi, and other brothers and sisters, Dr. Suzar and Queen Afua, that anything, and now Dr. Melanie, anything that you put on your skin absorbs into your bloodstream. And I've heard from some other holistic health brothers and sisters, that you should be able to eat anything that you put on your body, you should be able to put in your body.
Right.
I said, wow. Okay. So then if that's true, I'm thinking this whole lifestyle change should affect not only what you put on your head, which is going into your scalp, on your skin, in your body, in your mouth, and even, I'm getting to the point, even when you go to openly kiss somebody, open mouth kissing, this French kissing, I guess they call it, when you go to kiss someone, you exchange saliva, blood, and a few other things. Are you following me? That last meal you ate and a few other things. So I'm saying, how are you going to consciously change your perspective from which you operate from to become a more natural person, and then you turn around and you go get somebody very unnatural? That's a gigantic contradiction. There was a commercial when I was growing up, and the question was asked, is it parquet or butter? And we had a hard time choosing because we couldn't figure out whether to put it on wheat bread, multi-grain bread, or just straight up Wonder bread. I don't know why they call it Wonder, but later on, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, yeah, they call it Wonder bread because you wonder what the hell is in it. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to come to the unmistakable conclusion that if we're going to become natural, it's a lifestyle change and not a hairstyle change. The hair becomes a part of it because as Anthony Browder talks about in his book, The Browder Files, it talks about the politics of hair. And it seems like hair has a lot to do with how black people feel about themselves on a daily and consistent basis, especially when it comes to black women, and black women know what the hell I'm talking about. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said these sisters go out and go to the beauty parlor and spend $200 or $300 on a damn perm, which is a short term for permanent, and this shit is temporary. Layla Africa said they get permanent perms and go out, and as soon as the rain hit it, it goes right back to Africa. You understand? It does what it's naturally supposed to do. Well, that's the effect that Europeans want with their hair. But they're not like us. You understand what I'm saying? They cut from a whole different cloth. Elijah Muhammad laid that thing out beautifully, Brother Rich, when he asked us a question, which is the first lesson. Who is the original man? And you know the answer is the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. White people, y'all can't wear that. White people can't wear that. And those of y'all that are out there dating those people on the other side of the fence, y'all need to know and understand this particular lesson. They can't wear that. Plain and simple. They are the colored man. So he asked the second question, who is the colored man? The colored man is the Caucasian white man, or Yakub's grafted devil, the skunk of the planet Earth. That is that beast, that devil, that demon that you're laying next to. And you better wake up and realize he didn't call him colored because he turns colors. He turns pale, pink sometime, and a few other colors. That's not why Elijah Muhammad said it. That is third, fourth grade kind of teaching. Elijah Muhammad said he called him the colored man simply because everywhere he goes, and every people that he come in contact with, the indigenous people in these indigenous lands that he go into, which are all black, he goes in and he colors them, meaning that he colors their thinking, their religion, their educational system. He colors the way they do things and the way they operate. Then he puts himself at the center, meaning that at the center of their political system, at the center of their religious system, definitely at the center of their finance and economic system. And he colors everything. And nothing on the globe that we looked at today, he hasn't colored and he hasn't touched. This is why, Brother Rich, in a couple of days, you're going to have people bowing down, picking up, bowing down to tree. As Ashra Kwesi teaches, symbolically, we bow down to the tree because we put the presence under the tree and we bow down and we worship the evergreen tree. But if you would have listened to what Elijah Muhammad taught in reference to Nimrod in the Bible, we would have got that lesson a long time ago. And he was absolutely 1,000% correct in the 10th chapter, of Jeremiah, where it says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. They deck it with silver and gold and fasten it down with nails. This is the heathen that goes out to the forest and chops down the tree and then deck it with silver and gold. That's the way of the heathen. So the question is then asked, should Christians celebrate Christmas? Because Christmas wasn't celebrated by Christians for 300 years, probably after it was. So Christians have now taken on the way of the heathens and the pagans, and this is what you're celebrating right now or in a few days, these pagan holidays, especially Christmas or Christmas. People better look into this, Brother Rich, because I swear, if I get a goddamn happy Christmas text message, I got a message waiting in my damn phone for people. I'm telling you right now, Brother Rich. And it ain't cute.
Oh, man. Now, I want to ask you, Professor Griff, with that being said, do you get us, like, when a movie comes out and it's a love story, you know, everybody says, "Oh man, that's a great love story, man. Oh man, it was a good love movie. It was a love story, you know, we loved it." But when the characters are black, it goes from being, "Oh man, that was a great love story," to, "Oh man, that was a great black love story." So they automatically, in the same society that tells us they don't see color and color doesn't matter, when they see us in a love story, they call it a black love story. Do you think we need to get rid of that category or of saying, "Oh, that's a black love story," or "That's a black film"? Should it just be a love story, period? Does it take away from the love story or the love movie or whatever the movie is by calling it a black love story instead of just a love story?
It doesn't take away with it, but it definitely delineates. It definitely sets aside how we as a people interact with one another, especially under racism, white supremacy. It probably would just be a love story, as Coltrane says, a love supreme. It probably would be just a regular old love story if we didn't have to deal with the whole idea of racism, white supremacy. My mom fell in love with my dad. My mom was a lighter woman, not light-skinned as we traditionally know, light-skinned. But my mom was a lighter woman. My dad was jet black. I'm not talking about that triple darkness, that blackness that the brothers be coming from Africa. Not that dark. My father was a Blackfoot Native American. My dad could look like he could have been. Would you ever see the jet black Indian from India?
Yeah, the Dravidians.
That's somebody. Pardon me.
The Dravidians.
Exactly. My dad looked like he could have been one of them, and but to see them two, a black man with straight hair, talking to a short hippie kind of country woman, you understand what I'm saying? You would think some people may look at that and like, okay, we already start passing judgment. You follow me? So when you talk about love stories today, Brother Rich, you got to put it in the context of who we are as a people, and you have to add to it and keep in mind, historically, we weren't able to meet one another, to date and to court one another. Elijah Muhammad said there's three things that the white man will not teach us: the science of warfare, the science of mating, and the science of business. And I think we need to understand that it was very difficult for us to marry because we couldn't, because we were owned by our slave masters and our slave masters' children. We didn't know what process to go through in order to take on a wife or how to even treat one. We had to relearn these things all over again, Brother Rich, and establish and put in place some of those particular traditions that I've often heard Professor Smalls and other brothers teach that particular lesson, that when we saw that we were getting our religion now beat out of us and our names changed and we couldn't speak out our native tongue, we started hiding the traditions inside of what the white man allowed us to do. So he allowed us to teach the Bible only on Sunday for a few hours. Then we hid the Yoruba tradition and the Ifa tradition and some of the other traditions from the continent inside of that. Lo and behold, later on, churches started popping up, and they started putting African in front of the Methodists, or African in front of the Episcopalians, or African in front of the Baptists. So we ended up with these kind of churches. So we tried to hide the traditions inside of what the white man allowed us to do on the plantation. And for the most part, Brother Rich, it survived it. So even now, Brother Rich, when people get married, there's some of the African traditions from the continent. We still add this in some of the ceremonies. But I'm sorry, Brother Rich, in racism, white supremacy, in America, did you hear the story that Brother Baruti told? That the brother and sister had met one another, and he was very fond of the sister, and the sister was very fond of him. But they was hood. They didn't know any tradition. So they met. He wanted to propose to her, so he asked her to meet him at McDonald's. And he brought the ring, and the whole bit wasn't a very expensive ring, but nonetheless, he saved his little money up, and he got him a ring, and he met the sister at McDonald's, and they sat down at McDonald's, and he popped open the ring, and he said, "Bitch, would you marry me?" She said, "Yeah, nigga, I'll marry you." See, we may laugh, Brother Rich, but it's almost on that damn level.
Yeah.
But because we don't have a knowledge of self, we don't know how to treat one another and cultivate one another. We don't even know the science of choosing a mate and being married and cultivating and riding it out. I put up a slide in Brooklyn, I think right before you stepped out, Brother Rich, a few weeks ago. I put up a slide that said, yeah, your fallback game is tight. So how about your stick around game? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We get married, and one little joke, one little argument, we ready to bounce. It's like, no, man, there's too much at stake. You got business, you got children, you got a whole bunch of things invested in this. That's an institution. We need to say to one another, look, we're going to work this out regardless. Get a support unit, get a family support unit, and then get another support unit, a community support unit, and get people that you know that y'all can go to sit down and talk it out. Some of these ways we dismiss one another, Brother Rich, is borderline dysfunctional. How we dismiss one another and do away with one another. Someone's whole entire life we do away with based on a damn argument or a few curse words, or he left the toilet seat up or something stupid. Mm-hmm. We get rid of one another as opposed to saying, my grandfather and my grandmom, they stayed together and had 13 children. They stayed together through thick and thin, and when he didn't have a job, and this, that, and the other, and having to move 2 or 3 times. But through all of that, Brother Rich, they stayed together. Grandma ended up in the hospital had to get surgery and this, that, and the other. And one of them ended up an amputee with a leg missing, and that one had heart surgery, and that one, but they stayed together, Brother Rich. They worked it out. And this is something that we as a people have not figured out. Let me tell you something. Our very lives, Brother Rich, depend on us reestablishing that institution and making it work. I want to see black men and black women together in love. That's the ultimate love story, Brother Rich. The ultimate love story is to see black people around the globe in love with one another. That's a love supreme.
No, indeed. That definitely is. Now, I mean, why do you think, I was looking at this article about this Nigerian Barbie doll. I think they call it the Queen of Africa. It's outselling Barbie in Africa, in Nigeria, and all across Africa. So people are like, wow, like I said in the beginning, that the perception of beauty seems to be changing. This Nigerian doll is outselling Barbie. We have the trend of, the big butts and, the butt injections where women want to have, bigger butts, and they and they get the lip injections. You know, you see the white woman getting the lip injections, and you know, just so many things that you see happening. Why do you think, despite constantly being told how ugly black is and how, you know, how much, you know, subconsciously or consciously, how much we should stay away from anything black, why has it always managed to be so cool? Like, regardless of what we are told, black seems to always maintain this kind of cool factor where in the most wretched conditions, in the most horrid ghetto in America, they could still set trends in pop culture in which everybody follows it. Millionaires follow it. So why do you think that is, Professor Griff?
Because we're the gods and goddesses of not only the planet, man, we're the gods and goddesses of the universe, man. So when they start talking about a universal pageant, how they gonna have one without us? That'd be a lame ass pageant. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Without what we bring to the table. I'm just saying they have no other choice, Brother Rich. They are drawn to us because we are who we are. We the gods and goddesses of this thing, Brother Rich. The standard of beauty has always been black. It's just the fact that they disrespected the black woman to such a degree, whereas they made her this woman that anyone can have on the plantation. When you have your cousins and your uncles and your brother and whoever on the plantation going in and out of the black woman just to produce babies, 400 years of that, what does that produce, Brother Rich? So when you talk about disrespecting the woman and disrespecting the black woman, we read the Willie Lynch letter last week and what they did to the woman. Coming up out of that, Brother Rich, they made her filthy and nasty and smelly. And these are all of the things that they put out about the black woman. But at the same time, you still found Thomas Jefferson and some of the slave masters going in and out of the black woman. Not to produce children, Brother Rich, but for their pleasure. They always attracted and desired the truth and desired the black woman. The black woman has been the standard of beauty. It's just such now that things have changed to the degree where onslaught on disrespecting the black woman, it sent a signal out to black men that we should protect black women, and we failed in our duty to do that. So she looks at us as being weak. And with this whole idea, especially with the advent of the internet, she has access now to all the other races of people, and now she's discovering that maybe a guy from Brazil or Italy or one of the other places is exotic, and now this has become her choice now, simply because now she has access to these kind of men that she has these multiple choices now. But back to the point. Black woman has always been the standard of beauty. They just played the black woman down so much so that they made, and I need people to hear this next point. Amos Wilson teaches us that they have made black, Brother Rich, so painful that every time we see it, it's associated with something negative. So much so that every time we hear the term black, we get re-stimulated about everything negative, and we can run through the gamut of things that they have made us feel inferior about when it comes to the whole idea of being black and being called black. In religion, they made black the devil. Mm-hmm. In education, they made black the negative. In mathematics, they made black the negative. In every sphere of everything that we deal with, Brother Rich, they made black painful. So anytime you experience it and hear it and have to interact, it's always negative and always re-stimulates us to that period. Like, for example, I was watching the news. I got to travel tomorrow, so I'm watching the news, Brother Rich. I'm like, okay, what is the weather going to be like? So the news reporter, black person, started talking about it's going to be a black and gloomy day. And I'm like, wow. See, that re-stimulates you, Brother Rich. Right. So now when you go to think of the weather and you go to think of a bad day, you think black, gloomy, negative, hurtful, painful, every time we have to deal with black. And they did this over and over and over and over again. Can you imagine that after 200 or 300, 400 years, every time you hear the term black, it's associated with something negative? When you hear the Ham story in the Bible, when you hear the Canaanites, and when you hear these other people being black, it's always associated with something negative. Every single time we hear black, it's painful. So then when it comes to dealing with the black woman, who had every right to be angry at some of the things that's going on and the lack of our protection for her in America, had every right to be angry. When we look at and deal with the black woman, we write her off as being loud, rude, boisterous, too aggressive, too outspoken, too all of these things. But at the same time, on her watch, what are black men actually doing, Brother Rich, to step up to the plate so the black woman can be a real woman and just be herself, so she can be feminine, she can be soft. And her place is not only in the damn kitchen, pregnant, barefoot in the kitchen. No, if we go back into the annals of history, the black woman ruled side by side with the black man. And I know some of these people are waiting to leave a goddamn comment under this clip, Brother Rich. But if we go through the annals of history, we'll see the black woman at her peak, in all of her glory, like his stepsister, in all of her glory, ruling. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In all of her glory, not only her, but all the other gods and goddesses, as Ivan Van Sertima talked about in the black woman in antiquity. All the black women that Dr. Ben talked about when he says heaven is between the legs of an African woman. And that's not derogatory. That's on a metaphysical level. So she ruled equally with the black man, and we need to deal with it as such. That's not anything strange. What is wrong with that? Elijah Muhammad said a nation can rise no higher than its woman. Well, if that's the case, what kind of nation are we building? Do we as men think that we're going to have a nation without the woman? We out our goddamn mind. Mm. Dr. Ben said, dipped in chocolate, Brother Rich, bronzed in elegance, enameled with grace, toasted with beauty. He said, my Lord, what have I have here? A black woman. That was Dr. Ben. Mm-hmm. That's why he said heaven is between the legs of the African woman. And Oshawa Kwesi echoed that. That's our heaven, Brother Rich. And in some cases, that can be our hell. That's our heaven and that's our hell. And we have to... And that's very real.
Well, I guess I like where you took it with that. And I guess my last question will be, Griff, how do we make... Where we seem to be a culture where we do what we think is cool. So if being in love is cool, we'll do that. If having 3 girlfriends at a time is cool, black people will do that. How do you make being in love cool again? How do you make having a soulmate? How do you think as a culture, how do we make having a soulmate cool again, Professor Griff? Because for some reason, somewhere along the line, being in love became corny amongst our youth. And they're like, man, fuck that love shit, man. If I'm walking down the street holding my girl's head, my friends would be like, man, this sucker for love ass nigga, man, this holding hands ass nigga, man, holding hands walking down the street. So it's like, damn, brother, I can't hold my girl's hand. So what do you... Like, how do you make that cool again, Professor Griff? Being in stone cold love, having a soulmate.
We gotta check. We gotta check and put a check a few of these labels and titles and behaviors, Brother Rich, that was given birth via the racism, white supremacy, the degree of oppression that was put on us gave birth to the homo. You will never see him sincerely holding a black woman's hand, sincerely being in love with a black woman. You won't even see the thought. He might be doing it because for self-aggrandizement, but it's not sincere. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These characters and these set of behaviors that were given birth to via racism, white supremacy in 2010 up to the present, the sexual and some of these oversexed, muscle-bound dudes that only have muscles because they want to impress other men, like women getting dressed up for other women. These behaviors that were given birth to, we got to do away with all of that and honestly and truly fall in love with one another sincerely, brother. Brother Rich, I'm going to tell you straight up, I want to be in love. I want a woman that I could be in love with. And you damn right I'm going to hold her hand. I'm going to hold her hand in the mall. I'm going to hold her hand in the movies. You understand what I'm saying? Because I want to be in love. I want that woman to challenge.
You know, Griff, I don't want to cut you off, Griff. Just before you continue, the reason why I ask that is because that's something I had to deal with when I was young. I remember when me and my girl first got together, and it's something I realized that it was subconscious, and then I just picked up on it like, I got to fix this shit. If I was in a black neighborhood, I was probably about 23 at that time. We wouldn't hold hands like that, but when we got to the white neighborhood downtown, we would hold hands more often. And then one day I said to myself, you know what? I think, am I embarrassed to be in love around other black people? Then I was like, oh shit, that's what it is. Like, because I don't see nobody else doing it. So I'm like, I don't want to stand out. I'm the only one my age, 23, 24, holding hands. I didn't want to stand out. So that's something I had to check myself about. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me ask you that question. But go ahead, brother.
Well, Brother Rich, I think it was kind of different for me because I always went, when I was younger, I always went for the woman that I kind of figured I couldn't get. Mm-hmm. So when I got her, holding her hand meant, look, I got her.
Right, okay.
I know that's crazy, man, but so to me, it was almost like an immature way, like, I got her, and I want you to see that I got her.
Right.
She's with me holding my hand, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But seriously, man, I know exactly what you mean. But if you creeping with the jump off, more than likely you're not holding her hand.
Right, okay.
Because you ain't really in love, running around.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing all these other things, and I think sometimes couples are together, but they just don't hold hands anymore. They don't hug. Now listen, I had put a post up on my Facebook page. As you know, I got a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I don't write anything on Facebook, and I want y'all that are listening to my voice to know that. If you see me put up something on Facebook, it's going to be one line, because Facebook ain't getting my energy. Something, and let that be that. But I put a beautiful picture. I forgot whose family it was. I think it was, what's the sister's name from Destiny's Child?
Kelly Rowland?
What's the sister's name?
Kelly Rowland?
Yes, I think it was Kelly Rowland's grandparents, I believe. She had a picture of them in a rocking chair hugging one another. I mean, both of them got gray hair. And they was in the rocking chair hugging and embracing one another like they were teenagers, man. That brought tears to my eyes. Mm. And I'm thinking, my mind, like, why can't that be me? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm sitting over here in a house by my damn self single, and I'm like, wait a minute, come on, you lost your swag, Griff? What the fuck? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To myself, what's wrong with me being in love? Am I worthy of it? I mean, I'm a man. I think I'm halfway intelligent. I could use my brain for business and make some things happen. I'm supportive. I'm a few other things. So then those of us that are within the sound of my voice that are in the same situation I'm in, we got to wake up tomorrow morning, look in the mirror and say, what is it I got to get in check in order to attract the woman that's going to be for me? You understand what I'm saying? Because I want to be in love, and there's nothing wrong with being in love. But when I see this outward show of affection, mind you, Brother Rich, I don't like the outward show of affection in public. A kiss on the cheek, holding hands, you play around with one another. Oh, that's cool. I see a lot of people just going overboard, man. You understand what I'm saying? We used to call kissing busting slob. And it's like brothers be going to the umpteenth degree. They might as well go get a room. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm saying, but I want to be caressed and touched. I want to feel like that this person really is into me. I want to be able to feel the love without her saying, I love you. You know what I used to say, Brother Rich? I used to ask people to define love. And I'm hearing all these different things. So I said to myself, well, why don't you define love? I said, love is the highest elevation of a complete understanding between two people. Not something that you can get today or tomorrow, Brother Rich. It's something that you have to earn in degrees. Because along with that comes caring, respect, trust, and a few other things, Brother Rich. We don't perfect that, Brother Rich, until we're 40. I'm 55 years old. But being 55 years old and being on the road and being in this work, it is difficult, man. I've been through 2 marriages, Brother Rich. And I would never say it's totally those women's fault that I married, that it didn't work. You understand what I'm saying? Doing this work, yeah, of course, man, being the man that I am and that I have become, there's a whole lot of work that we need to do when it comes to our domestic affairs, man. Shit, I just figured out when the damn garbage man comes, Monday and Thursday, Brother Rich. He comes tomorrow. So after this interview, I got to go take out the trash.
You got to get ready. Right.
I didn't know that. The whole idea of paying bills on time because you're on the road half the time, shit, if it wasn't for my phone letting me know when I got to pay the water bill, this shit would be off. So this domestic thing, I had to get back to myself and say, now, wait a minute. Even though I'm a dad and a granddad, there's just some things that I'm lacking that I need to, because when you hook up with a woman and you meet a woman, these are some of the things that she might look for. Is he a good father? Let me see how he treats his children. Does he have good hygiene? And does he talk respectful? Or does he curse in public? And does he pick in his nose at the damn dinner table? Does he, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to be qualified enough to attract and be with a woman and be in love. So, Black, I love you.
Indeed. And on that note, Professor Griff, leave them your contact info as usual, brother, so they can hit you up.
Brother Rich, they can hit me up directly at 678-557-2919. Once again, my phone number is 785-557-2919. Or you can send me seriousmindsinfo@gmail.com. Or you can check my Facebook out, just Karan Shaw. Just put in Professor Griff. My website is www.professorgriff.me. Or my alternative site is pgriff.info, Brother Rich. And Serious Minds is actually going to do its first show, Brother Rich, January 5th, Tuesday, January 5th. And
that's what's up.
So I'm gonna start it again, and I'm going it alone. I got some guests lined up for February, but I'm gonna do January on my own, so I can get back in the groove and being on the air on Serious Minds. And I'm gonna build it, man. I know at this stage of the game, what I built as far as Serious Minds, when I started that and then decided to bring on a co-host, I specifically looked for a woman so I could offer the balance, because I know I'm rough around the edges. You understand what I'm saying? And it was done, and I think it was successful. Then, along with working with you, I think it was a delicate balance, man, and it worked. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So hopefully, I could stand on the shoulders of what I started with Enemy Minds and continue it with Serious Minds. And I'm going to try to do a few things the same, but a few things a little bit different with Serious Minds Radio and Serious Minds TV. I'm actually going to give people a peep into how I'm doing the show. So I'm going to film every show, but I'm only going to do it on Tuesdays for a while. Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while. I'm gonna take the time out Thursdays to do the alchemical cipher, which is the study group, Brother Rich. I'm going to leave Wednesday open for what you and I do.
Okay, that's what's up. Definitely, right. Everybody stay tuned for that. And,
January 16th in Raleigh, North Carolina, I want to mention that. Me and Black Dot hooking back up again. His book is out, and my book should be out in the February, Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop Part 2, which people are going to have some issues with, but it's good. Because I'm dealing with some signs and symbols from fraternities, sororities, and the churches and the rest of these people.
And you got the comic book out now, right?
The comic book is out. It's called Who Stole This? As a matter of fact, I'm in the middle of writing the second one. It's Ex-Minister to the Edge of Panic. So I'm in the middle of writing the second one. The comic book is out. It's called Who Stole the Soul? And you can get it from my website, or you can just call me directly, 678-557-2919. And once again, I want to thank you, Brother Rich, for continuing to do this, man. And we just keeping our word to one another to keep this thing going, man.
Yeah, no doubt. 2016, it's going to be a good year for Professor Griff, y'all. Got a lot coming up.
It's going to be serious.
Yeah, literally, huh? Serious. That's what's up. So, yeah, y'all, this Underground Railroad Radio, once again, Brother Rich, Professor Griff, we signing out. We going to see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.